同学们，大家好！现在我们上新概念英语第四册的第33课啊，The Vasa. From the 17th century, Empire of Sweden. The story of a galleon that sank at the start of her maiden voyage in 1628 must be one of the strangest tales of the sea. For nearly 3.5 centuries, she lay at the bottom of Stockholm Harbor until her discovery in 1956. This was the Vasa, royal flagship of the great imperial fleet. King Gustavus Adolphus, the northern hurricane, then at the height of his military success in the 30 Years' War, had dictated her measurements and armament. Triple gun decks mounted 64 bronze cannon. She was intended to play a leading role in the growing might of Sweden. As she was prepared for her maiden voyage on August 10th, 1628, Stockholm was in a ferment. From the Skipsborn and the surrounding from the Skipsbron and the surrounding islands, the people watched this scene of beauty begin to spread her sails and catch the wind. They had labored for 3 years to produce this floating work of art. She was more richly carved and ornamented than any previous ship. The high stone castle was a right of carved gods, demons, knights, kings, warriors, mermaids, cherubs, and zoomorphic animal shapes ablaze with red and gold and blue. Symbols of courage, power, and cruelty were portrayed to stir the imaginations of the superstitious sailors of the day. Then the cannons of the anchored ships thundered a salute, to which the Vasa fired in reply. As she emerged from her drifting cloud of gun smoke, with the water turned to foam beneath her bow, her flags flying, pennants waving, sails filling in the breeze, and the red and gold of her superstructure ablaze with color. She presented a more majestic spectacle than the Stockholmers had ever seen before. All gun ports were open, and the muzzles peeped wickedly from them. As the wind freshened, there came a sudden squall, and the ship made a strange movement, listing to port. The ordnance officer ordered all the port cannon to be heaved to starboard to counteract this list, but the steepening angle of the decks increased. Then the sound of rumbling thunder reached the watchers on the shore, as cargo, ballast, ammunition, and 400 people went sliding and crashing down to the port side of the steeply listing ship. The lower gun ports were now below water, and the inrush sealed the ship's fate. In fact, in that first glorious hour, the mighty Vasa, which was intended to rule the Baltic, sank with all flags flying in the harbor of her birth. 好，那么我们来看第一句啊。From the 17th century empire of Sweden, the story of a galleon that sank at the start of the maiden voyage must be one of the series of the sea 啊。那么这个里面啊有一个定语从句 that sank at the start of a maiden voyage in 19 sorry， 这个是定语从句啊。这个定语从句修饰这 galleon 啊， The story, the galleon sank at the start of her maiden voyage. Must be one of the stranger tales of the sea. 好，后面 For nearly 3.5 centuries, she lay at the bottom of Scorpion until her December. 那么这里呢有一个时间状语从句也不是时间这里这个不是从句sorry。这个是一个介词词组 until her discovery， 这是一句简单句This was the vessel, royal flagship of the great imperial fleet。那么这个呢也是一句简单句，对吧？后面 King Gustavus Adolphus the Northern Hurricane then at the height of the mirrors in the 17th century had dictated her measurements 那么这个 king then at the height of the had dictated her sorry 这句是简单句这句简单句Triple down gun decks mounted 64 bronze cannon， 这个也是一句简单句，对吧？那么she was intended to play a leading role in the growing might of Sweden， 这个呢也是一句简单句那么后面as she was prepared for as she was prepared for her maiden voyage on Stockholm was in a ferment。 那么sorry 这里面呢有一句时间状语从句这个一句是时间状语从句 as she was prepared for her maiden voyage on August Stockholm was in a ferment。 那么后面from the Skelborn and surrounding islands, the people watched this single beauty begin to spread her sails and catch the wind 那么这个the people watch this single beauty begin to 那个怎么样begin to spread her sails and 那么这个句子这是一句简单句，对不对？那么但是这个句子这个结构里面有个地方呢要注意一下the people它那个谓语是这个谓语动词是 watched， 对不对？ watched， 那么后面这个 this thing of beauty 呢是它的一个宾语那么后面这个 begin to spread her sails and catch the wind 这个是一个宾语补语宾语补语这个补充就说明什么？说明 this and things of beauty begin to 它开始呢是 spread her 的。那么这里大家知道这里呢有两个动词一个 begin 一个 catch 等于说这两个是并列的，用一个 and 并列的，对不对？但是大家注意了，这两个动词它都用了一个动词原形，看到没有那么这个是什么呢？这个呢英文里面大家知道的，它因为前面这个动词是 watch， 对吧？这个句子的这个动词动词谓语动词是 watch。这个看在英文里面有很多那个听看那这些动词什么 see 这些动词它后面跟的那个宾语补语它呢实际上呢省掉了一个不定式的 to 对 watch this things of beauty to begin to spread and catch 这个里面呢前面呢有它省掉了一个 to这个不定式的符号它把它省略的。一般呢它像这样的那个呢它不能用那个的就像这种动词watch hear 那种感官的人的感官的动词它后面这个不定式不能用 to 的它就用了一个动词原形，看到没有那么这个要注意一下，这个大家也会经常碰到的，对不对？像这种动词 watch 这种东西，它后面都跟的是动词原形然后后面 they had labored for 3 years to preserve this floating award。 那么这个呢也是简单句She was more richly carved and ornamented than any previous ships。那么这个呢是一句什么？一句比较结构比较结构。 那么后面 The high stone castle was the right of carved gods, demons and knights, warriors, mermaids and sharks 啊，这个也是一句简单句啊，然后跟它并列的 and zoomorphic animal shapes ablaze with the red and the blue. Symbols of courage, power, and cruelty were portrayed to stir the imagination. 好，这句句子啊，这句比较松散的啊。那么我们现在看看啊，这个 ablaze 啊，这个 ablaze 应该是一个副词啊，我们查一下啊，这个 ablaze 啊，它能不能做动词的？我们看一下。ablaze 是形容词啊，或者是副词啊。ablaze 是形容词或者副词啊，这个我们查过了，对不对？那么，按照像and ablaze 就是 symbols courage 我，那么这一句啊，这一句我们要这样分析了啊，这个主语啊是这个啊。这个主语是这个 zoomorphic animal shapes 啊，那么后面这个啊这个是一个形容词的这个短语啊 ，ablaze with red and gold 啊，这个是一个形容词短语啊，修饰这个 animal shapes 的啊，那么这个 animal shapes ablaze with red and gold and blue 对不对？它是颜色啊，那后面啊这个 symbols of courage, power and cruelty。这个呢，看上去啊，就是说这个呢，看上去是个 animal shapes 的那个同位语啊，它是指那些 animal shapes 呢，等于说是什么的象征啊？这个 courage, power 跟那个 cruelty 的那个 symbol 啊 ，symbol 是吧？这个是一个同位语，跟这个 animal shapes 啊，这个 zoomorphic animal shapes 应该是一个同位语啊。然后呢，这个呢是谓语啊，这个句子的谓语啊，我 portrayed。To stir the imagination of the spirit of the day 啊，这句句子呢有点松散啊，但是呢，你仔细分析一下呢，也不是很复杂。好，那么 then the cannons of the anchored ships thundered a salute to which they fired in reply。那么这里呢有一个 to which 啊 ，the vessel fired in reply 啊。那么这个呢是什么？这个是个定语从句，这修饰这个 salute 的。这里面的这个 which 就指那个 salute 啊。To the salute 呢，那个 vice fired in reply in salute 啊，等于说这个是定语从句，对不对？好，as she emerged from her drifting cloud of gun smoke with the water turned to foam beneath her bow, her flags flying, pennants waving, sails filling in the breeze, and the red and gold opposites with the she presented more majestic than the sky had ever seen。好，那么这句句子长了，对不对？这句句子长了。好，那么这句句子呢，这个 as 啊。这个 as 呢，一直要到这里啊，这个是一个什么？这个是一个时间状语从句 ，as 引导的是一个时间状语从句啊。当它怎么样啊 ？As she emerged from her drifting cloud of gun smoke with the water 那么这里呢又有一个 with the water turned to foam beneath her bow 啊。那这个呢，大家以前碰到过的，这个是介词啊。这个以介词引导的一个什么？以介词谓之引导的一个叫什么？过去分词短语啊 ，with the water。那么smoke with the water， 这个 water 怎么样 ？Turned to foam 啊 ，turned 这个是过去分词短语啊 ，turned to foam 啊，这个过去分词过去分词短语。那么你可以看出这个呢是一个非限定的一个句子啊，过去分词的一个短语啊。 with the water turned to foam beneath her bow。好，那么后面啊，那么这个做状语的，对不对？表示伴随性的啊，对不对啊？卡拉德怎么样？好，后面啊 ，her flags flying 啊，这个呢也是一句这是一句现在分词的短语，也是做状语的啊，都表示它伴随性的啊，这就是它雾里面云里雾里出来的啊，烟雾那个泡的那个钢 smoke 里面出来的的 ，her flags flying 啊，然后 the pennant waving 啊，一样的，也是现在分词短语啊 ，sails filling in the breeze 一样的，这个 sails filling in the breeze 啊 ，sails filling in the breeze 啊，也是现在分词短语啊 ，and the 后面这后面最后一个应该是最后一个，对不对？然后他用一个 and， 那么什么？在前面跟这都是并列的啊，就并列的状语啊，有的是过去分词短语，有的是现在分词短语啊，这都是表示伴随性的动作的。and 怎么样 ？And the red and gold of her superstructure ablaze with the color 啊，那么这个呢？也是一个非限定的一个无动词的一个短语啊。那么这种呢，就是说第四层呢碰到的比较多一点了啊。你可以说它是一句无动词的非限定的句子，可以的啊，是不是 ？Ablaze with 好，那么后面主句呢来了 ，She presented a more majestic spectacle than I had ever seen before。啊，这个是主句，对不对？那么这个主句是一个比较句啊，一个比较结构。好，那么我们后面看下去。All gun ports were open, and the muzzles peeped weakly from them. 啊，那么这个呢是两句句子的并列，对不对？这是第一句，然后呢用一个 and 呢和后面一句呢并列起来了啊。那么后面 as the wind freshened, there came a sudden squall. And the ship made a strange movement, listing to port 啊，那么这一句呢，就是说这个案子，首先这个案子啊，这个案子这个从句啊，这个案子引导的又是一个时间状语从句啊，伴随性的，当怎么样？当这个风啊 freshen 的，然后呢，那么后面的主句呢是一个并列的 ，There came a sudden squall， 这个是一句主句。然后呢，它跟它 and 并列的呢是后面一句主句。The ship made a strange movement, listening to port 啊。那么这个呢跟前面这句主句并列的，对不对？那么这两句主句呢应该都是简单，里面没有从句了，就是一个简单的句子啊。那么这两句句子呢并列的啊。那么好，那么这个 listening to port 呢，又是一个现在分词短语，做状语的，对不对？好，那么。The ordnance officer ordered all the port cannon to be heaved to starboard to counteract the list, but the steepening angle of the deck increased 啊。那么这也是两句句子啊，这也是两句句子并列的，用一个转折的 but 来并列的。那么这第一句呢是 The ordnance officer ordered all the port cannon to be heaved to starboard to counteract the list， 对不对啊？那么这个是一个句子。第二句呢是 The steepening angle of the decks increased 啊，那么这是两句句子，对吧？然后呢 ，Then the sound of a rumbling thunder reached the watchers on the shore.As the cargo, barrels of munitions, and 400 people went sliding and crashing down to the port side of the steeply listing 啊，那么这个呢，首先来看呢，这个主句啊 ，Then the sound of rumbling thunder reached the watchers on the shore 啊，这个是主句，然后后面呢，它又有一个 as 的啊。这个又是一句时间状语从句，伴随性的。那么这一课呢，它的那个时间状语从句，它都用 as 啊，没有变，对吧？都是 as。 那么呢，这一句呢，只不过它放到后面来了，这个时间专语说把它放在前面呢，都它放在句首，对不对？那么 as 怎么样 ？as 这样子 as cargo built 是不是 and 400 when sliding？那么 when sliding and crashing down to the port side of the steeply listing ship 啊，那么这个 went 啊，后面它跟了一个现在分词短语啊 ，went sliding and crashing down to the 那个，对吧？好，后面。The lower gun ports were now below water, and the inrush CO there 啊。那么这个呢，又是两句句子并列的。首先第一句呢是 The lower gun ports were now below water， 这是一句啊。那么用 and 呢，它呢跟后面一句并列的。The inrush CO 的啊。那么好，那么后面 In that first glorious hour。The mighty vessel, which was intended to rule the sank with all the ship。哎呀，这个我们一起说了啊。这个普泽号我也不知道他这里干嘛用这个的。In that first glorious, the mighty vessel， 后面这个 which was intended to rule the Baltic。那么这一句呢是一个定语从句，非限定的定语从句啊。这个 which 是指这个 mighty vessel 的啊。mighty vessel was intended to rule the Baltic 啊，善感，然后它善感 with all flag flying 啊。然后呢，那么这里啊又是一个 with， 看到没有？这个 with 啊引导的这种非限定的句子很多。前面我们有一句是过去分词。现在这个呢是一个现在分词 with all flags flying， 看到没有？它是一个现在分词组成的一个怎么说呢？你可以说它是非限定的那个无动词的那个句子啊。但是呢，它是没有什么叫无动词啊？这里所谓的无动词就是没有限定动词啊，非限定句啊。那么 with all flags flying， 它应该说是现在分词组成的非限定的那个句子啊，你不能说它无动词啊，因为这个 flying 是动词，只不过呢，它这个 flying 呢用的是现在分词，对不对？那么它是一个现在分词的一个独立的一个从句啊。你可以说它独立，为什么？它后面有它自己带自己主语的 all flags 啊。这个现在分词的主语是什么 ？all flags are flying， 对不对？啊，然后呢是 in the harbor of her birth， 这个是状语，对吧？好，那么今天这一课呢就讲到这里，谢谢大家，再见。